So in today's class, we are going to continue with page, as I said before, just to remember, we're going to study your ebooks that are on page 42. And we're going to talk about the news. That's why I'm going to share with you something that I designed for the class. This is an example of local news about Cartagena. So let's read the headings. So Dana, could you please read the heading? What does it say? Read this part, please.
Okay. Cartagena has, teacher, how can I say? 1,995 new active case of coronavirus.
Excellent. That's the heading for El Universal newspaper. It says that Cartagena has 1,995 new active cases of coronavirus. Here we have a conversation between Joanna and Heikel. So let's practice the conversation to see what happens. Alejandro, you are Heikel. And Maria Clara, I don't know if your microphone is working well. Is your microphone working? Maria Clara, I need your help.
Hello, dear. Repeat, please.
So Alejandro is going to be Heikel and you're going to read Joanna's, okay? Are you ready?
Okay,
Yes.
teacher, I'm ready. Have you heard the news?
No, I haven't. What happened?
There are
1,000.
1,000 active case of coronavirus.
1,995, okay? One more time.
What?
1,000. 995
995 active case of coronavirus in Cartagena. The Ministry of Health and Social Protection reported 3 news deaths. Also, there were 9,000
200. Ok, facilito. Primero lees 9,000, sería 9,000. Después 200, 200 y después 85. ¿Cómo sería?
Okay. 9,285.
Okay.
85. New case yesterday. That's a lot.
My goodness, it's terrible news.
Excellent. So let's analyze the conversation between Joanna and Heikel talking about some local news. What is the question that Joanna asks to, to talk about the news? What kind of question do you see here? Do you see an information question or a yes/no question? What do you think, class?
A yes/no question.
A yes/no question, that's right. That's right. So now the second question is, what kind of tense do you identify in Joanna's question? Simple past, simple present, or present perfect? What do you think, class? What tense is that? What tense do you see here? Is it simple past? Is it
Perfect.
present perfect? That's excellent. This is present perfect. Why is it present perfect? Okay, second question. Third question, sorry. Is it a question? Is it a negative statement or is it an affirmative statement? Class, is it a question, a negative statement, or an affirmative statement?
A question.
It's actually a question, that's right, sorry. Now, we said that it's a yes/no question. So Why is it a yes no question in present perfect? What are two characteristics that you can see here to say that this is a question in present perfect? Look at this one. How do you call this? Remember the last classes in other courses when you study the present perfect. How do you call this? Is this a verb or an auxiliary? I repeat, is it a verb or an auxiliary?
An auxiliary.
Teacher
This is an
auxiliary.
auxiliary. Remember that in the present perfect, we have an auxiliary. Two auxiliaries, actually. We have and we have has. We use have with we, you, and they. And we use has with she, he, and it. In this case, we're using the auxiliary have. What do you see after the subject pronoun? What do you see after the subject pronoun? What happens here in this verb? What's happening? Hello? Is this verb in present, past, or past participle? What do you think? Is that verb in present, past, or past participle?
Past, teacher.
It's in past participle, participio pasado. Remember that the present perfect has two characteristics. Number one is that you use the characteristic number one is that you use the auxiliary have, and number two, we use a verb in past participle. In this case is heard. Okay? Have you heard the news? Now look at the answer. What is peculiar about this answer? What is something that you can notice about the answer?
It's
What
a
happens?
negative answer.
Okay, it's a negative answer. And what else? Apart from being a negative answer, what else do you see? That is a short answer related to the yes, no question. Have you heard the news? No, I haven't. And what do you see? Because this is a period. So what do you see after that? We see a question. What's the question?
What happened?
What happened? This is the way to ask for information about the news you are talking with another person. And now look at the answer or the reaction, the person's reaction. What kind of reaction does the person have? Is it a negative reaction or a positive reaction?
A negative reaction.
It's a negative reaction.
Negative.
That's right. Oh my goodness, it's terrible news. That's right. So this is the example number one to talk about the news in English using the present perfect. Right now, I'm going to share with you guys a second example about the use of the present perfect to talk about the news. This time, I'm going to share with you an example about national news. Remember that we are in December and we are celebrating the New Year's Eve and also Christmas Eve, talking about the New Year celebrations. So sometimes kids usually get burned when they play with this gunpowder. Remember that gunpowder, it's pólvora. So this is an example about it. So friends, Go ahead. I need two volunteers. Two volunteers, my friends, to read the conversation. Of course, Mr. Agames, are you here? Mariam, are you here?
Me, teacher.
Okay, Mr. Agames and Mariam. What is Mariam? No la veo. La
Me,
lista.
teacher.
Okay, very good. So, please, read the conversation. Comiencen, lo escuchen.
Teacher.
Okay. Have you heard about the news called to avoid being burned with
Gunpowder.
gunpowder in Bogota?
Miriam.
Yes, I have. I heard it this morning. The Ministry of Health and Social Protection say that for the end of the New Year festivities, parents and better watch that children that don't burn themselves. Otherwise, irresponsible parents are going to be fined.
These are good news for our city. Something had to be done about it.
That's right. Actually, let's practice the pronunciation. It says, have you heard about the new call to avoid being burned with gunpowder in Bogota? Yes, I have. I heard it this morning. The Ministry of Health and Social Protection said that for the end of the New Year festivities, parents had better watch that children don't burn themselves. Otherwise, irresponsible parents are going to be fined. These are good news for our city. Something had to be done about it. So let's analyze here and tell me what
Teacher,
is, yes?
teacher, I have a question. What does mean themselves?
Ok, eso sería de hecho es una oración completa. No sé si se acuerdan de la unidad que ustedes dieron sobre accidentes. Talking about accidents. Sería así entonces, children, se refiere a ellos, don't burn themselves, o sea, que no se quemen, que no se quemen. Sería la expresión. Por ejemplo, cuando tú sufres un accidente en la cocina y te cortas con un cuchillo, tú puedes decir, I cut my finger, usando el posesivo más el nombre de la parte del cuerpo que te cortaste, sería el noun, my finger, I cut my finger, o puedes utilizar, oh my God, qué ruidosos son por aquí, y vamos a usar lo que llamamos I would say, the reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns. So, sería así. I cut. Para I sería myself. ¿Ya? I cut myself. Me corté. ¿Ya? Otro ejemplo.
Themselves
Omar,
es como ellos mismos. Que,
sí,
no,
Omar
que los niños no se quemen ellos mismos.
broke. Omar burned his fingers. O puede usar la estructura. Un momentito, vamos a ponerla con la grande. Aquí. Oh my God, I'm sorry, wait a minute. One more time. Omar burned his finger. This is choice number one. Or Omar burned himself. Para este sería así. Himself. Yeah. So to talk about accidents and injuries, you can use these two ways. Okay, and this is the one you see here. Children don't burn themselves. O sea, que no se quemen. Que no se quemen. Sería la traducción. El Ministerio de Salud y Protección Social dijo que para la festividad de Año Nuevo, los padres deben, esto es una strong advice, had better, se utiliza como para amenazar a alguien. Si alguien no cumple dicha norma o que se diga, tendría una consecuencia al final. ¿Cuál sería la consecuencia? Parents are going to be fined. So that's why you see here, had better watch that children don't burn themselves. Otherwise, de lo contrario, irresponsible parents are going to be fined. Yeah? So to sum up, to talk about accidents, you have two ways. Number one, you can use my finger, my arm, a possessive adjective plus a noun. In this case, a noun shows the body, the part of the body that you suffered the accident. Or number two, you use, in this case, a sentence in simple past using the reflexive pronouns. Let me show you the complete list just to remember about those reflexive pronouns. Wait a minute. So if you look at the internet, you're gonna find the complete list for reflexive pronouns. For I is myself, for you is yourself, yourselves for plural, himself, for she is herself, it itself, we ourselves, and because we're talking about children, ¿cuál sería el reflexive pronouns para they? Themselves, okay? In other words, when you're talking about accidents, you use the reflexive pronouns like this, like the one you see here. I cut myself. Omar burned himself. Ahora, se quemaron. Children burn themselves. Que los niños no se quemen. Que los niños no se quemen. Pues manipulando la chispita mariposa y todas esas cosas. So that's basically what it shows here. Is that clear? Now let's analyze one more time the conversation. So what is the question that Mr.
Disculpe,
Yes?
profesor, también se puede ocupar para otras cosas, no solamente para accidentes, ¿no es cierto?
Yeah, that's right. You can use that thing with other, I would say, context, but because today class we're talking about accidents with fireworks and this kind of gunpowder, we use that grammar structure, but you're right. You can use it with whatever context. So Mr. Agames asked a question. What questions that he asked in order to talk about the news? What is the question? I mean, does Mr. Agames use or ask a question that is information question or yes, no question? Hello, class?
Repeat, teacher.
At the beginning of the conversation, what questions do you see or do you notice? A yes, no question or an information question?
Yes, no question.
A yes, no question. What is auxiliary? Have.
Have.
What is the main verb in past participle?
Here.
Here. That's perfect. And then we have the complements. So have you heard about the new call to avoid being burned with gunpowder in Bogota? And then what kind of answer do you see? Do you see, what kind of answer do you see, friends?
An affirmative answer.
An affirmative answer. Yes, I have. I heard it this morning. Now, how does Mr. Agames react to the news? Positive or negative? How does he react? Positive or negative?
Positive.
So Mr. Agame's reaction is positive because he says these are good news for our city. Something had to be done about it. That's right. Now, there are different ways to use the present perfect. But one of those uses of the present perfect is to ask for the news. Have you heard? Have you seen? Have you read about, and then you say the news. Have you read about the Colombian national team news? Have you heard about the COVID-19 news in Cartagena? And so forth. So in this context, you use the present perfect to ask for the news, okay? But also, remember, but also, you can use the present perfect with information questions. In this opportunity in your book, they are teaching you just the information question with the word how long. Remember that we use how long to get information about the amount of time that something has happened. ¿Cuánto tiempo? Por ejemplo, how long has COVID-19, and then we have to use a verb in past participle, affected the local economy in Cartagena? When I say the local economy, I'm talking about everybody. The schools, the malls, nightclubs, everybody. So how long has COVID-19 outbreak? Vamos a colocarle aquí la palabra outbreak para referirnos al brote. So how long has COVID-19 outbreak affected the local economy in Cartagena? Who can answer that question? ¿Cuánto tiempo? ¿Cuánto tiempo ha afectado dicho virus a la economía local?
A month, listen.
Muy bien, 8 months. Ok. Preguntamos con how long, vamos a responder de dos formas para hablar de periodo de tiempo. Number one, you can use since, and number two, you can use for. When I say since, is when this action began. So you can use since plus a month. So you mentioned the month. You can also mention maybe a day of the week. You can also mention a year. For example, since you say 9 months. So we are in December. 9 months ago, what month are we talking about? January, February, I think it's March. ¿Cierto? Desde marzo. March. Or maybe you can say, if you're going to talk about the day of the week, you mention that day. For example, we have March. We have, for example, Friday. And maybe a year. For example, you can mention 2018, 2019, and so forth. Just right here, 2018. Since plus a month, a day of the week, and the year. And what about for? For is because we are talking about the Amount of time. ¿Cuánto tiempo ha transcurrido algo? We're talking about months. We can say for 9 meses, 9 months. We're talking about days. So we have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and morning. We can say 4 days. And we're talking about years. We have 2 years because 2018, 2019 and 2020, 2 years. So you have basically the use of since and for to answer the question, how long? Okay? Teacher, what is the difference between the simple past and the present perfect? Remember that the simple past always say when, I would say the specific time that something was finished. Okay? No one más. And here, with the present perfect, could be how many times. Sorry, I'm sorry. Many times something has happened, or how long, cuánto tiempo, something has happened. Yeah? It doesn't say the specific time that something was finished, okay? This is very important. In this case, it doesn't say the specific time, is the opposite of the simple past tense. That something was finished. Now, to complement my explanation and my examples about the news, we're gonna go to our ebook, the National Geographic ebook, and we are going to listen and read to the grammar that is here about the review of the present perfect. So let's get started. Let me see the chat. I see people, debe ser el internet, that's all. So now listen and read.
Use the present perfect for actions that began in the past and continue in the present.
I'm a reporter at the Daily News. I've worked there for a long time.
Use the present perfect with for a period of time and since for a point in time.
I've known her for 15 years. I've known her since 1996.
You can also use since before a time clause.
I've known her since I was a child.
Use how long to ask about a period of time.
How long have you lived here?
Use the present perfect for past actions when the time they happened isn't important.
Have you heard the big news? I've met you once before.
Okay? So remember that the present perfect for past actions when the time they happen isn't important. So the present perfect doesn't say when the specific time in the past something was done or finished. The specific time, it doesn't say. For example, last year, last Friday, 2 days ago, it doesn't say that. It just says that something has happened and that's it. Okay? I don't know if you have questions about this. Okay, just to remember, when we're talking about the months and days of the week, you have to use capital letter, mayúscula, with the first letter. That's why you see May with capital letter M. Okay? Now let's do some comprehension exercises. Let's unscramble these questions that are here. Let's put them in the correct order, my friends, in order to practice this topic. So let's get started. I'm going to give you for this activity, because this is a review, 4 minutes. So you have 4 minutes to complete, to put in order, sorry, the following questions. Let's start.
Teacher, teacher,
Yes, are you saying something? Are you asking for my help? Hello?
no, teacher, era eso que quitar el reloj que no dejaba ver.
Okay. Okay, friends, now it's time to socialize the exercise with the answers. Look at this part. So, Maria Camila, I need your help for number 1. What is the correct order of the question? Maria Camila, can you hear me? What about you?
Teacher, todavía no la he terminado.
Okay. But that's okay. Let's do it here in class. Don't worry, I will help you. The first thing you need to know is if the question you're going to organize is a yes/no question or an information question. So what do you think? Is it a yes/no question or an information question?
Yes, no question, teacher.
So we start with the auxiliary, have, and then after the auxiliary have, what else do we use?
You.
You, very good. And after this, what do we have?
Read.
Read. Remember, this is the verb in past participle.
Okay.
And this is the pronunciation, read. And what else?
Any funny, no?
Any funny? What else?
New stories.
New stories. And then we have the word
Recently.
recently. That's right. Have you read any funny news stories recently? That's right. What about two?
Have.
Have
you
you
Have
Have
you
you ever
watched
ever
the news in English?
watched the news
The news in
in English? Very good. What about three? Look at this. This is a yes, no question.
How long
How long
How long
long
have you studied English?
have
you study?
you studied English? And number four,
Have you
Have you ever
studied
studied another language?
ever studied another language? And five, look at this is a yes, no question, an information question too.
how long
How
How
long
long
have you
have
best
you
friend?
Muy bien,
known
excellent.
your
Have
best-
you what? None.
Have you known
no
Your best
Your best friend. Okay, before continuing with the next exercise, let's practice the pronunciation. Have you read any funny news stories recently? Two, have you ever watched the news in English? Three, how long have you studied English? Five, have you ever studied another language? And five, how long have you known your best friend? Okay, to practice this, I'm going to ask you students, and you have to answer the question, giving me your own answer. So, for example, Laura G. Laura G, can you hear me? Yes? Is everything okay? Laura G. Laura. Okay, Maria Clara, what about you? Can you hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, how have you read any funny news stories recently? Have you read any funny news stories recently?
Mm, mm, no, teacher. I don't read the news story recently.
Okay, sería no, I haven't. Repeat after me. No, I haven't.
No, I haven't.
That's perfect. Number 2, Sebastián Romero. Have you ever watched the news in English?
No, no, I haven't.
So what are you waiting for? You are in level 10. You should watch the news in English. The next one. Dana, how long have you studied English?
Okay, I think that I have studied English for 7 years.
For 7 years. So you studied when you were a little girl, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's perfect. Alejandro, look at the next question. Have you ever studied another language?
Yes, teacher. Spanish, English.
Yeah, yes, I have.
Yes, I have.
I've studied
I
Spanish
studied Spanish,
and
English.
English.
Yeah.
That's right. Excellent, my friend. I'm 5. Juan Camilo, how long have you known your best friend? How long have you known your best friend, Juan Camilo?
Teacher, I think ¿cómo sería?
For a long time?
2 hours.
Really? For 2 hours?
I don't know.
Okay, to answer to this question, you can also use a time clause. When I say a time clause, you use the word since, and then you use a subject, the verb be in past in this case, and then since I was 14, or since I was a kid, or for many years. There are different ways to answer to this question. Since I was a kid, since I was 14, for many years. Si lo conociste el viernes, no creo. El año pasado, perdón, since 2019, and so forth. So, how long have you known your best friend, my amigo? How long have you known your best friend? Hello?
Okay, teacher. No he entendido bien la pregunta, pero...
¿Cuánto tiempo,
sí, sí.
¿cuánto tiempo has conocido a tu amigo? O sea, tu mejor
Okay,
amigo?
I remember 2 years ago.
Que sería since 2018.
Yes.
Or, si quieres usar el for, sería for 2 years. ¿Ya?
Okay.
For 2 years.
For 2
Years.
years. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's continue with more. Let's practice. Carla, look at watch out this question. How long have you known your best friend? Carla,
Yes,
how long have you
I hear
known
you.
your best friend?
Almost all my life.
Pues sería
Since I
for
was
many years.
Yeah, since I was a little girl.
Excellent. Very good. Yes, excellent. ¿Quién no le pregunté? Vamos a ver, Dana, Juan Camilo, le pregunté, María Camila va en Ostras Caribe, no se puede. Sebastián Romero, María Clara, everybody. So that's excellent. So friends, that's basically the thing about this part. And with this part, I'm going to tell you right now the agenda for the end of the course. The oral quiz has to be done for next Friday. And what is the oral quiz about? I'm going to share with you 2 examples about the activity you are doing for the oral quiz. Because we're talking about the news, you're going to record a video, or you're going to imagine that you are part of a news channel, and you're going to tell me it could be national, local, or international news. So this video that you are going to present can be done in groups of 3 or in pairs. It's up to you. So let me show you the example about the activity related to the quiz, the oral quiz. Let me tell you that the deadline, la fecha límite de entrega es Friday, December 11th. Este viernes. Tienen hasta el viernes para entregarme eso. ¿Ok? Este video que no sea menos de 2 minutos ni más de 3 minutos y medio. O sea, entre 2 minutos y 3 minutos 29 segundos. Esa tiene que ser la duración. ¿Ya?
Teacher, después en la noche usted puede pasar estos requisitos por el grupo de WhatsApp para ya tenerlos más claros.
Sí, claro. Ya les comento todo. Entonces, me lo van a mandar un correo que también les voy a compartir. Recuerden que va a ser sobre cualquier noticia. Esa la eligen ustedes. Puede ser local, nacional o internacional. Y la regla para calificar dicho proyecto sería así. La organización del video, digo organización del video, pues es el background. Miren que acá yo utilizo de background una cosa de Colombo. Pueden también colocar un fondo relacionado con su tema, la organización de las personas en el video, la vestimenta, todo eso, vale un 5%. El vocabulario, 5% más, y la gramática relacionada pues con las noticias, present perfect y otras estructuras que tengan que usar, un 5% más, y el total sería 15 puntos. Le voy a mandar el ejemplo 1 y ejemplo 2 de cómo van a hacerlo. Repito, no menos de 2 minutos, ni que pase tampoco de 3 y medio, de 3 minutos 30 segundos, entre 2 minutos y 3 minutos 29 si quieren. Ya compartí eso.
Teacher, ¿usted dijo que grupos de 3 o solamente?
Puede ser grupo de 3, parejas.
Ok.
¿Ya? Ahí tienen un ejemplo. Ese es para el día viernes. Ahora para el día 14 de diciembre.
¿Individual se puede también, profe?
Individual. Bueno, si en caso extremo sí, hazlo individual, pero tendría que ser algo bien organizadito.
Okay.
Tendría que, pues, no sé, como que buscar la manera de que, porque siempre hay un reportero y está el que presenta las noticias. Por eso digo, entre pareja o grupo de 3. Mira el video que está aquí. O hay personas que editan el video, se visten de una manera, siendo el presentador, y después de otra, y hacen la secuencia. Pueden hacerlo con Zoom. Pueden reunir y hacerlo por Zoom y grabarlo. Eso puede ser una opción. So dejo a su imaginación. Now, for the next Monday, what day is next Monday? Next Monday, it's the 14th, ¿cierto? Of December. So December 14th va a ser la fecha límite para que hagan en sus ebooks, el online book, el review units from 1 to 3. Van a hacer esta parte de review units from 1 to 3. Tienen plazo hasta el día lunes. todas maneras, también voy a compartir eso. Plazo para entregar dicho trabajo, lunes 14 de diciembre.
¿Y ese review se entrega cómo?
Eso lo haces en la
Entonces,
plataforma tuya, donde está tu libro virtual, y se refleja en mi plataforma que lo hiciste. Yo lo voy acá desde acá. El plazo para entregar Review Unit 1, 2, 3.
pero ese review está en el libro nuestro, no en el libro
Sí,
que
claro,
se
el
está
libro de
evaluando.
ustedes. Pero todo lo que tú hagas, mientras tú estés en mi clase, me sale.
En el libro nuestro también, porque habían
Sí.
dicho que no, que ese no lo veían ustedes, los profesores.
Ahí está. Monday, December 14th, 2020. Now, el día viernes, que cada día viernes, let's see. 11th, ok. El día viernes terminamos la unidad 4. Vamos a dar un poquito de la unidad 4. Y el plazo para terminarla es el día viernes. Ya la otra semana, el 14, 15 y 16, son los exámenes finales. Entonces, el día 14, voy a hacer el examen escrito. ¿Oyeron? El día 14. Final written exam.
Teacher, ¿ese examen del 14 sería el final?
Sí, final written exam.
Ok.
Unidades 1, 2, 3 y 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Y después viene martes, Tuesday, December 15th, final oral exam. Igualmente, units 1, 2, 3, and 4. Y Wednesday.
El que recién dijo de la unidad de 1 a 4, ¿puede repetir la fecha, por favor?
Sorry?
El que dijo recién de la unidad de la 1 a la 4 era el examen.
Yeah, that's right. Lunes, Monday, December 14th,
Okay,
final written exam, units 1,
okay.
2, 3, and 4.
Ah, ok, ok.
De todas maneras, esa información la estoy dejando en el chat de WhatsApp. El martes, o sea, Tuesday, December 15th, final oral exam, units 1, 2, 3, and 4. And Wednesday, December 16th, okay, results and registration process. Para el curso 11 que comienza el 7 de enero. Para ese día, miércoles, tengan a la mano sus códigos. Vamos a hacer proceso de inscripción aquí. Vamos a dejar todo listo para el próximo año. January 7th.
¿Y ese va a ser presencial, esos cursos en enero?
Ya te respondo eso, ya voy para allá un momentico. Hasta el momento, ya eso se lo confirmo ya el mismo 15, el Colombo va a implementar clases presenciales y clases virtuales. O sea, van a ser aquellas personas que que quieren tomar las clases presenciales, lo van a poder hacer, y los que no, virtuales también. Pero hasta el momento, hasta hoy, hasta el momento, hay que esperar última noticia. Van a comenzar con los sábados tarde, el programa de sábados tarde. El resto está por confirmar. Yo les doy la respuesta el 15 de diciembre. Aún están en reunión. Pero sí, me imagino que ya a partir de que vaya transcurriendo el otro año se abrirán más cursos de manera presencial, pero sí van a comenzar a implementar la presencialidad a partir de enero. Hasta el momento, hasta hoy, 7 de diciembre del 2020, los únicos cursos que están confirmados para presencialidad son los sábados tardes, o sea, el programa de sábados tardes, hasta el momento. Hay que esperar a ver qué más dice. ¿Ya? Yo les estaré informando en estos días.
Okay, teacher.
Bueno, entonces, let's continue with more. Ahí está toda la agenda en el grupo de WhatsApp. And now, let's finish the class with Unit 4, men and women. So for Unit 4, my friends, we're going to study the differences between men and women by watching a video. That is basically lesson A. What is the difference between men and women? That's why it's all about appearances. It's all about, I would say, intelligence. It's all about likes and dislikes. This is basically what we are going to study in lesson A, sorry. Then we're going to continue studying more vocabulary to talk about it. Maybe for the next class, we are talking about this part of the listening, this conversation that is all about the use of the present perfect. We're going to continue with the second part of present perfect, but with some adverbs words like ever, never, yet, already, and so forth. After this, we're going to continue, of course, with lesson B. So we're going to finish between Thursday and Friday, lesson B talking about dating. We're going to study phrasal verbs that are all about relationships, boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife, all the phrasal verbs that are about dating. And that's basically the agenda for Unit 4. Okay, we're going to talk dating around the world, and finally, the phrasal verbs that are all about this. So right now, let's go with lesson A. And I'm going to start with this part. If you have your ebook there, you have to be you have to open your ebook in the starter section of Unit 4. That is all about women and men. Okay, let me show you the picture, this part. Okay. But of course, I just, try to adapt this class or this part of the class with more, I would say, visual help. So now let me open the same thing you're watching here in the book, but with paint, because here I have a better explanation of this part. Wait a minute, let me open the document. Okay, lo mismo que está acá, la diferencia que acá les muestro unos colores. I don't know if you remember when you studied the color theory, you studied two types of colors. You studied the warm colors and the cool colors. Do you remember what the warm colors are? Which ones are the warm colors? Do you remember? Which ones are the warm colors?
Yellow, red.
Carla, can you remember, or can you share with us the list of warm colors? Which ones are warm colors? Carla.
Warm colors? Can you repeat? You need to the names of the colors. One color.
Is there a problem with the audio? I can hear you.
Can you listen me?
Yeah, no, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah, that's right. So what colors? Which ones are the warm colors? Do you remember?
The one colors? No.
The warm.
Ah, warm colors. Red.
Red. Yellow.
Orange.
Orange, that's right.
Okay.
And the cool colors, do you remember the cool ones? We had blue.
Blue.
Green.
Yeah, green, blue, and
purple. Muy bien, purple. Now, if you look at the picture, Carla, here you see a woman and you see a man. Actually, this picture you see here was taken with this special camera that shows the differences in body temperature, okay, between a man and a woman. Remember that the red color and in this case, the white color represents the body heat. So can you notice any differences between the man and the woman in terms of body heat? What is the difference?
Usually the hands, the woman hands is more cold.
Exactly. If you look at the woman's hand, it's totally different from the man's hand. Basically, the man's hand shows more body heat. So men have more body heat in the hand than women. Now look at the face. Any differences between the man and the woman? Look at the face. What happens on the woman's cheeks? Class. Look at the woman's cheeks.
The cheeks are more warm in the
exactly.
The woman.
And the man's face doesn't show that. So to sum up, men have more body heat in this part of the body that shows the shoulders and the hands. But the women, in this case, show more body heat on the cheeks, for example. On the cheeks, you can see, and also in this part, the chin, right? That's really interesting about this part. And that's basically what it shows here to introduce the topic about men and women. So there is a big question. Is there any difference between men and women? Sorry, I was checking who was calling, but that's okay. So I have a question for you guys. Are men and women different or similar? What do you think? Let me tell you something. When it comes to concentration and when it comes to remember information, women are better than men. That's something that is true. For example, I don't know if you remember when you had your boyfriend or your girlfriend and you had this argument where you were arguing about something, and then one of these people said to another person something bad. Then when they got back together, when things are normal, then the woman is the one who remembers most of the time that thing that happened before. So why? Because women have this ability to remember and also, I would say, catch more information than men. And that's basically one example of the differences between men and women. Right now, I'm going to play a video and you're going to see this part. So let's get started. After watching the video, we are going to answer the tasks C, okay, and D.
So ladies and gentlemen, listen carefully. Your gender is counting on you.
Take a look at this husband and wife and do your best to listen to everything they're about to say, because in a minute, we'll have some questions for you.
Hi, I'm Todd, and this is my wife, Jill. I am an elementary school teacher. We have 2 sons, a dog, and a parakeet. And I would say that between the 2 of us, I'm definitely better at outdoor grilling and tennis.
Hi, I'm Jill. I teach sign language and raise our 2 boys, Jared and Keith. I'm definitely better at remembering details. Who's better at tennis? That's debatable.
Okay, how well do you think you listened? We'll start you off with some easy questions. What is this man's name? Is it Tom, Todd, or Thad? The answer is Todd. What about his wife's name? Is it Jane, Jen, or Jill? The correct answer is Jill. So how did you do? We're betting pretty well since a majority of the men and women we asked got both of those correct.
But remembering names is one thing. Now we're going to test how well you listen to other details. And this time, no multiple choice answers. You'll have to rely on the power of your memory and listening skills, just like in your daily life.
First question, what does Jill do for a living?
That's a good question. What does Jill do for a living? Do you remember? Who can tell me, what does Jill do for a living?
She teaches sign language.
She teaches Spanish. Okay. ¿Quién respondió? En este caso, una mujer. That's perfect. What about men? They didn't say anything. This is an example that shows that women remember more details than men. Okay?
I teach sign language and raise our 2 boys.
What kind of pets do Todd and Jill own?
What kind of pet this man have? Do you remember the pet that this man have? What kind of pet does this man have?
A parrot.
A parakeet, un periquito, a parakeet, and what else? A parakeet.
Dogs.
Okay, that's right. Again, who's answering? A woman, no men.
A dog and a parakeet.
What are their kids' names?
Jared and Keith.
What sport do Todd and Jill both like to play?
What sports do they like to play? Tennis and what else? Listen up.
Tennis.
Finally, what did Jill say she was definitely better at?
I'm
Tennis and
definitely better at remembering details.
So how many details did you remember correctly? Well, the more you got correct, the more likely it is that you're a woman.
That's because the...
And this is the most important part of the video. Look at this.
Cliche that women are better listeners actually...
I teach sign language and raise our 2 boys.
What kind of pets do Todd and Jill own?
A dog and a parakeet.
What are their kids' names?
Jared and Keith.
What sport do Todd and Jill both like to play?
Tennis.
Tennis.
Finally, what did Jill say she was definitely better at?
I'm definitely better at remembering details.
So how many details did you remember correctly? Well, the more you got correct, the more likely it is that you're a woman.
That's because the cliche that...
The men and
Women are better listeners actually has some science to back it up. Research shows that men listen primarily with the temporal
Research shows that men listen primarily with the
lobe in
temporal
just the
lobe.
left half of their brain, while women listen with the temporal lobe in both sides of their brain.
Okay, so women use the temporal lobe both sides. This is something that men
With both sides firing in the female brain, more neurons are stimulated, so more details can be remembered.
It doesn't mean men are doing half the work or that women are twice as good at listening. It just means they listen differently.
Guys, next time a woman accuses you of not listening, just tell her it's your brain's fault.
I'm okay.
Excellent. Now, according to the video, what is the man's name? Tom, Todd, or Thad? The answer is B. What about number 2? What kind of what is the woman's name? You remember? What's the woman's name?
Jill.
Muy bien. In this case, the letter C is the answer. The pets, we said a dog and a parakeet. What does the wife do for a living? She's a teacher. What did the wife say she was better at? Remembering details. And 6, what sports do they play? Can you tell me the answer for 6? What is the answer for 6 people?
Tennis.
Tennis. Actually, tennis is one of the most popular sports in the United States, apart from football and basketball. So according to this information, we can say that women are better listeners than men, and they can remember more information than us. And that's really interesting. So friends, for today's class, that's all. Thank you for being here. Remember to do your activities and see you the day after tomorrow. See you on Wednesday, okay? Happy Little Candles Day.
Equally, teacher. Bye-bye.
Thank you, teacher. Bye.
Bye.
Profe, tengo una pregunta, profe.
What is your question, Alejandro?
Ese foto de 1 a 3 review, ¿ese para tarea o un examen?
Esa es una tarea, un taller. Eso está en tu
Tarea.
ebook. Eso está en tu ebook. Tú lo vas a buscar en el ebook. En la página, te digo la página específica. Está...
Pero la respuesta va a mandar por correo.
No, tú hazlo, que eso me sale acá. Lo que tú hagas me sale acá, ¿me entiendes?
Ajá.
Lo que vas a mandar por correo es el video del examen oral.
Ajá.
¿Oíste?
Pero ese no puede entregar. El ebook no puede entregar.
¿Cómo?
Respuesta.
No, mira, lo del ebook es una cosa y lo del examen oral es otra cosa. El examen oral es el quiz. Sería para el día viernes. Lo de las noticias, el videito que van a hacer es para el día viernes. Y lo de la unidad es 1 a la 3 es para el día lunes. ¿Ya?
Para el lunes.
¿Qué me vas a mandar al correo que di en el WhatsApp? Me vas a mandar el video de quiz oral.
Pero ese tarea lo voy a hacer el ebook.
¿Cuál tarea, papi?
De esa, 1 a 3.
En el ebook, sí, esta que está aquí, en el ebook. Y la otra es, ¿cuál, Alejandro?
De all quiz. El que más.
Del oral quiz. Y del oral quiz...
Pero profe, ese video puede hacer individual. O sea, solo una persona.
Puede ser, pero creo que lo hagas en pareja o en grupo. Hazlo con otra persona. Individual no. Búscalo con otra persona.
Sí, pero está difícil. Creo que está difícil con otra persona. La idea, o sea, la tiempo también.
Bueno, entonces edita el video de tal manera de que quede bien, como está ahí. Utiliza el Camtasia. Te viste de una manera reportando la noticia y después te viste de otra manera representando al reportero. ¿Ya me entiendes?
Sí.
O puedes hacer un plan B. Te pones a grabar un video frente a un televisor y vas mostrando la noticia. Así como cuando muestran el clima, ¿se acuerdan? El noticiero.
Sí.
Bueno, entonces te imitas así como el televisor y entonces como si te estuviera dando el clima, por ejemplo, de cualquier tema. Entonces esa parte puede ser individual. ¿Ya?
Bueno. Ok, listo.
Listo.
Gracias, profe.
Dale.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, see you next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.